Let's talk about houseplant care in springtime. After the winter, our plants are needing a little bit of TLC because of the central heating system. They're probably looking a little bit crispy, and because they're coming out of the dormant cycle, we want to make sure that the plants are getting a head start. In this video, I'm going to show you how to take care of your houseplants in early spring. We'll be looking at how to repot your plants when the root system is now starting to outgrow the pot. We'll be looking at how to propagate your houseplants, and also some of the things that I do regularly to keep my houseplants happy. This is just a small proportion of the houseplants that I have, and as you can see, most of them are looking quite nice and healthy, but some of them need a little bit of attention. I have houseplants everywhere. They are on windowsills in our living room, they are in our bathroom, and they are in our office room. We know that keeping plants indoors, like your workplace or in your house, has been shown to increase productivity, increase your mood, and also some of the plants clean the air. These are fabulous reasons why you should have plants indoors. The main thing that I do with my house plants in first instance is check the leaves and also the root system. For the leaves, I usually remove anything that is dead, diseased, or damaged. Then I will take the plant out of the pot and inspect the root system. One of the most obvious signs that your houseplant is needing repotting is when the roots are starting to come out of the holes at the bottom of the pot. You might also see that the plant is struggling. It might start losing its leaves. The leaves are starting to go yellow, which signals that there's not enough nutrients anymore. So this is a good example of when we need to repot the plant. When choosing a new plant pot for repotting your plants, I would recommend going by 1 or 2 centimeters larger than your current plant pot. So this rubber plant is currently in 17 centimeters diameter pot, and I've chosen 21 centimeters. That means when I'm going to repot this plant, there's going to be about 2 centimeters around the root system. The size of the pot is usually written on the bottom of the pot. When repotting your houseplants, carefully take it out of the old pot, gently tease out the roots, and break up the old compost. Then add some fresh compost into your new pot and also place the plant. Hold the plant in place and then add the fresh compost around it. Fill all the way to the base of the stem and leave a little gap at the top to make sure there's enough space for watering. Finally, give your plant a really good water. Not all houseplants need to be repotted if the root system looks to be a bit tight. For example, the monsteras, they like their root ball to be quite tight in the pot. So for example, for this one, I will not actually be repotting it into a bigger pot. Some plants are slow growers. For example, that's your cacti and succulents. For this one, I won't be needing to repotting it for probably a couple of years because it is a very slow grower. So all I'm going to do is inspect the soil and make sure that there's no pests and that is happy to continue growing in this pot. Cacti is one of the easiest plants to propagate by cutting. So once I removed the dead and diseased leaves, it exposed quite a lot of stems. So I took the cuttings and I'm going to put them in water, leave them for a couple of weeks to root, and then they can be plotted up. In fact, I already have some cuttings that have rooted in water, and what I'm going to do is take my original plant together with some rooted cuttings, put it together in the same new pot, and this will form a new and bigger plant. After adding a little bit of fresh compost at the bottom of the new pot, I'm then placing my old plant and the rooted cuttings to fill out the space. You don't always need to take cuttings if your plant loses its leaves. For example, this pothos has distinct nodes along its stem. Because this pot has some space at the top, what I'm going to do is actually twist around the stem and then place it on top of the compost. The nodes along the stem are the points where leaves and aerial roots form, and when placed in water or on top of soil, these nodes can develop into new roots, making propagation simple and reliable. This snake plant needs attention. As you can see, some of the leaves are really long and heavy, and this whole plant is being kept upright by a couple of bamboo sticks. So it really needs attention. And it is a great example of how we can take leaf cuttings for propagation. I am using my sharp secateurs to remove the leaves at the base. When propagating snake plant from leaf cuttings, I trim a V-shaped into the base. This increases the surface area for roots to form. It also makes it obvious which end goes down and which end goes up. I will then leave these cuttings out for a day to let the ends callus over, which helps prevent rot. Then they go into water for a couple of weeks until the new roots form, and once they're established, I'll pot them up into soil. One of the biggest mistakes that I see people do about their houseplant care is watering little and often. When compost stays moist for too long, this is when you get these really annoying little flies around your plants, also known as fungus gnats. Something that I do with my houseplants is I let them dry out between the watering and then give them a really nice spa day. This is when I take all my plants into a bathtub, rinse the leaves, and also soak through the compost completely. When you notice that your houseplants have started putting new leaves and have started actively growing, start feeding them as well, probably once a month or so. I hope you found this video useful. If there are any questions about your houseplants, please drop them in the comments. I would also welcome suggestions for the next how-to videos. See you next time!